And finally, E Pluribus Unum. From the one, many? The Great Seal has got everything that liberals despise right up there front and center. In the first place, you got your eagle holding arrows. Now, what good could those arrows possibly serve aside from celebrating the violent bloodlust that liberals see in Americans? It doesn't matter to them that in the eagle's right talon, he's clutching the olive branch of peace, making the visual point that Teddy Roosevelt made 150 years later with the words, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." Liberals don't think we need those sharpened arrows. Liberals would prefer it if the bald eagle on the Great Seal was holding olive branches in both talons. Or, better yet, maybe an olive branch in one and maybe a soft cushion in the other. That, of course, could entice our enemies to lie down and snooze. Or maybe the olive branch and a bottle of lavender massage oil. Or perhaps one of those loofah sponges they use, in the spas. Actually, anything from the Brookstone catalog would suit liberals just fine. The key for liberals would be to get rid of those awful arrows. We don't need arrows. We don't need a big stick. We need just a couple of Nerf toys and a pleasant, hopeful expression. And that's another thing that's wrong with the seal to them. The eagle looks too angry, too hurtful, and judgmental. Liberals, given the choice, would replace that scary eagle with something more loving, more gentle, something like the popular children's TV figure Barney, the purple dinosaur. "I love you," the Great Seal would project to all who gaze at it. A big purple dinosaur holding a juice box and a gender non-specific plush toy. But what about the most troublesome part of the Great Seal? What about that awful motto, E Pluribus Unum, Latin for out of many, one? It flutters on a banner around around the purple dinosaur's head. Out of many, one is the national motto. And it's what the founders imagined it meant, that out of the great and celebrated differences between us comes one nation and one larger purpose. E Pluribus Unum is perhaps the most obnoxious motto the founders could have come up with. As far as liberals are concerned, they don't mind the E Pluribus part. They love to note the things that divide and separate us. But they positively despise the Unum part. The truth is, the founders anticipated this. When they gathered to form a nation almost 3 centuries ago, they were a collection of very different men. The Puritans from the north had complicated and not totally friendly relations with the Quakers from Pennsylvania, who in turn pretty much hated the Virginia Cavaliers, who for their part viewed the Scotch, Irish, Georgians, and Carolinians with contempt. They were different, in other words. They were E Pluribus kinds of guys. And they knew that if America was to succeed, it would have to find some way to get an unum out of all that pluribus. Now, liberals hate this. They hate any attempt to find common ground among us Americans because their political principles and their political agenda is all about dividing us, drawing distinctions, making lists of in-groups and out-groups, turning us all into victims or victimizers. In 1994, Al Gore gave a speech at the Institute of World Affairs in Milwaukee about, well, you guessed it, world affairs. This was during some downtime in his truly remarkable career, somewhere between the time he invented the internet and the time he discovered global warming. In that speech, the subject turned to E Pluribus Unum. He said, quote, "We can build a collective civic space large enough for all our separate identities, that we can be E Pluribus Unum, out of one many," he said. Out of one many. That's what he said, I swear. Those were his exact words. Now, Gore was quickly mocked for what many thought was a gaffe, an error. I don't think it was an error. It was a Freudian slip, because it's what the liberals really want the Latin phrase to mean, out of one many. Now, contrast his talk with a speech in 2005 from Dr. Larry Arnn, president of Hillsdale College, a wonderful place where students are actually required to study the Constitution. Arnn was addressing the ways in which our Bill of Rights actually breeds harmony among Americans. Here's what he said. "One may pray all he pleases, and others are left free to pray or not, and with all their property intact, short of slander, libel, or treason. One may say what he pleases and do no harm to another. One can see how the right to property conceived, has the same attribute. If my property is the fruit of my labor and not of yours, then we have no conflict. My having my good deprives you of none of yours, and your having your good leaves me secure in mine." The interesting thing about this understanding of rights is the harmony it breeds in society. This harmony, or to use the political term, this justice, is the reason why our Constitution has lasted so long and our nation has prospered so well. Brilliant point, Dr. Arnn. Liberals love to talk the harmony talk, but our founders walked the harmony walk. And we, the people, have been the beneficiaries. So let's go back to where we began, shall we? We fixed the seal. The eagle is now a purple dinosaur. The arrows are now a plush toy and a kid's drink. But the motto remains tricky. E pluribus angry? Maybe e pluribus oppressed? E pluribus omnipotent? Government, not God? Something like that. Which brings us, of course, to all 50 chapters of 50 things liberals love to hate. And it's a blast for me to read them all. It only takes about a minute, and we're going to go quick. Ready? Here they go. McDonald's, flag pins, NASCAR, steakhouses, the Pilgrims, John Wayne, George Bailey, Walmart, football, conservative women, black Republicans, Christians, the Bible, the South, the West, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, honesty, success, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, pools and patios, the suburbs, freeways, babies, seniors, taking risks, small businesses, American Toyotas, immigrants, workers, teachers, doctors, patients, science, algae, V8 engines, bright lights, the Berlin Wall, charity, profit, talk radio, American military, the founding fathers, the states, the Constitution, e pluribus, unum, apple pie, and America. God bless America and these United States. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you get the book. Thank you.